need to introduce myself. I am Reptar. Hear me roar. Anyway, as you can tell, I am a Reptar. I'm the new co-host for today's episode of Chillin with the Pool. That's right. I'm lean, I'm mean, and as you can tell, I'm a big green predatory machine. Or just a dinosaur. Hey, who's going on over there? Uh-oh. Oh man, you weren't supposed to come in until the next half of this show. What can I say? I have a really roaring good time. Having a real roaring good time. Weak? That was weak even by my standards. Oh, what would you know? You know. Yeah. Sorry about that, folks. Anyway, what my co-host here was trying to say is welcome to another episode of Chillin' with the Pool. Special edition today. Anyway, on today's episode, I'll be discussing everything that had just happened to me over the last few days. Like my recent beach holiday. That's right, yours truly was at the beach. Beach, and, excuse me, we'll be right back for this commercial break. And we're back. Anyway, we're back. Now, as I was saying, yours truly went on a fantastic beach holiday the other day, and it was so relaxing. I mean, staring up at the blue sky while rollicking amongst the waves is always a year-long treat. And on a clear summer's day, there's no better place to be. We spent the day paddleboarding. We relaxed, had a nice beach picnic, and then we even visited the boardwalk. For ice cream and the fairground arcades. I tell you, there is nothing like the feel of seaside heights after a long day at the beach. Let me tell you. Yeah, it was just so much fun. I highly recommend just going to the beach. I mean, but then again, it's just pretty common knowledge at this point. So, what do I know? Anyway, with all that aside, I figured it's time we get on to the main topic of why you all clicked on this video today. Isn't that right, Reptar? Yep, that's right, Pirate Master Deadpool Supreme. It's time for our book review. As you can tell, today's topic is Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, brought to you in part by the Warzone series. If you've been craving a comic featuring married Peter Parker, Renew Your Vows will definitely not disappoint. Yep, that's right. You heard correctly. Peter Parker is finally married, or at least one of the variants of Peter Parker is married. As you can tell, he's married to Mary Jane Watson, and of course, this young red-haired scamp is their daughter, Annie, named after MJ's hot-tempered aunt. Anyway, as usual, probably read in the description. Renew Your Vows is a series that came out in 2015 as a result of the secondary Secret Wars. And all that. So, for those of you who don't know, I'll give you a quick recap. Dr. Doom basically absorbed the powers of the Beyonder, became God, and merged all different parts of the dying fractures of the multiverse together to form a planet called Battleworld, in which he ruled as God. Yeah, so that's just basically it. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, he made like the House of M in 2005, he also set it so that all the heroes and villains could have everything that their hearts desired. And yet somehow, another side tangent, it's just, I just hate, it's like, they give the heroes and villains all their hearts desire, and they still fight back against them. And then when the status quo then resets, they bitch and whine about it. It's just, can't these people make up their minds? I know, it's the writers and all, but seriously, can't these guys just be happy for once instead of just being all angsty misery porn and all that? Anyway, let's get to the main issue at hand, shall we? Okay, so basically it just ends with, so it starts with Peter Parker just working on his web shooters with his wife Mary Jane, and of course this adorable little scamp sitting in her high chair is Annie, at just a few months old. As you can tell, some of the artwork style is just, it still looks good. I mean, it's not, the stuff's gonna get really, really good as the series progresses, but for the time being, it looks pretty decent. And of course then, after, due to the results of a prison break, Venom, aka this world's Eddie Brock, ends up breaking out and torturing Spider-Man's wife and child. Now, I'm not, let's see, how do I put this? This is definitely an alternate variant of Eddie Brock where he still blames Spider-Man for everything, kind of like J. Jonah Jameson, except he really takes it to heart. The version of Eddie Brock that I always like is the one from the Venom movies. And I know, don't at me, but I like that version. He and Venom's partnership is really hilarious. It's kind of reminiscent of a Rush Hour in a way. If you've ever seen those movies, it definitely reminds me of that. But as for a villainous Venom, yeah, this one's definitely it. Of course, Spider-Man has to rush home very quickly in order to stop Venom instead of just with the Avengers. But then again, most of the Avengers in written form are kind of just more begrudging work colleagues, who probably would never be friends if they weren't forced to work together. As you can see, Spider-Man and Venom have their final encounter. I mean, this is it. For those of you who want Spider-Man and Venom to fight to the death, this issue will not disappoint. These two duke it out. These two duke it out amidst a fiery building. And Spider-Man finally has had enough of Venom and Eddie, Venom's shenanigans and Eddie's hatred. So instead, he brings the entire house down. Literally, he really brings the house down. It is hilarious. And then we flash forward to the first 8 years later. Probably. Wait, let's see, 2007 plus 8 would. No, 2000. So he was probably born in 2000, I think. I'm trying to do it. It's hard to do with this kind of math stuff on the fly, but yeah, it's basically where this guy is. Let's see here. Yep, this is just and here's another art variant cover for the comic. Yes, hell yeah, indeed, yeah. I mean, the way this looks is just too disturbing. And of course, this is why I see Eddie Brock. It's the symbiote. I never heard she's innocent. You gotta believe me. And yes, for my version of Eddie Brock, yeah, that's pretty much what he'd do. Venom is pretty much just a jilted gay lover at this point, or non-binary if you guys want to go by that. But yeah, and I think the way Eddie Brock was characterized in the movies is just too perfect, and especially with Venom. He's warped, he's sick, he's threatening, and also goofy. But it's a good thing, it just kind of lightens the mood a little bit. I think the Venom trilogy is going to do, pretty well and everything. But yeah, anyway, side note aside, this is basically just featured from within Peter's subconscious, his nightmares. And look at this, and he says, the good man, all the power and responsibility in the end, when it really counted, you were no better than me. And it's, to me, I would have said it like, who cares? I really don't care what you think, or anybody else does for that matter. What I care is just doing I know who I am, and all I care about is just getting the job done, and protecting those that I love. Besides, you're a dying villain whose opinion means very, very little to me. None of you guys do. This is just, you're the bad guy. Of course you're going to say stuff to get in my head. And it's like, man, the guy, the way he looks over here with the sharp teeth and thing, oh god, it looks really disturbing. I mean, they really got the macabre of Venom's psyche really, really well here. The power and responsibility. It's like, you left me to die. It's like, yeah, we did, because you were threatening my family. The hero and responsibility. It's like that's the thing I hated about Peter's Peter Parker in general. It's like the overbearing guilt and overwhelming sense of responsibility. In my version, in my headcanon, Peter long since grew out of that. Became an actually socially superior Spider-Man. Yeah, definitely hide. Yeah, so anyway, it just shows that Annie's just sleeping up on the roof. Now, now I know that spiders really don't sleep like that. Oh, actually, I think there was one where he was sleeping upside down like a bat. I think that, between you and me, I think that's just how Batman sleeps at night. But yeah, anyway, Peter literally crawls up the walls to get her. And of course, they end up having to live in fear because this guy named Regent, who looks like an all-pale, white, silverish chrome version of Darkseid from the year 2099, is basically had taken all the world's superheroes and Avengers and X-Men and decided to amass their powers to him, claiming that he wants to go fight God King Doom. Which I can see, which would be a pretty awesome battle. I really wish they would have done something like that. Regent fighting Doom, and Doom would have clearly obliterated him, but at least we would have seen a good fight. Everything. So yeah, they basically just have to live in fear and everything because it's like, oh yeah, Ronan Boulevard. Yeah, but for those of you who don't know, Regent's real name is Roman Augustus, and they pretty much named the streets after him. His power is your power for the future. Yeah, basically a fascist dystopia. Basic more of the line, and you got Peter and MJ just trying to live their best life. Trying to live their best life. So yeah, basically this is Demolition Man, and for those of you who don't know, Demolition Man is he's kind of like No, it's pretty much just like Hulk, but without the anger issues. I mean, he definitely supports transgender rights, and I think because I think between you and me on the side canon, he supports transgendered rights. He even had a halfway. He even opened up a halfway house. I mean, if he's supposed to be a bad guy or something like that, then he's doing a piss poor job at it. But as a hero, I'd say 2 thumbs up. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, this is Regent. He's pretty much just a silverish white technopathic ability of Darkseid if he was in Marvel's 2099. Pretty threatening, and I kind of chalk this version up to voiced by Keith David. I mean, when you finally see him and you're seeing it as villain, you probably would know that it's Keith David. I mean, that's how I read it in his voice. I mean, really, Keith David is always a good voice. You never can go wrong with him. Yeah, so basically it's just Jameson being his normal dickish self, I guess. So, yeah, I mean, there's nothing really surprising there. He's just, being a dick for regular reasons at all. Alright, we're gonna flash forward to this. So, yeah, this is where MJ brings out his black Spider-Man costume. And I know that Annie was really frightened of it because the symbiote, actually, the symbiote was the one that haunted her dreams when she was a kid and everything, but... the black symbiote Spider-Man suit, it's okay. I mean, it's nothing really to get excited about, but yeah, it's pretty fine. But for those of you who are, I'd say 2 thumbs up, And of course, you got Regent's Sinister Six with Shocker, Hobgoblin, Vulture, Kraven, Mysterio, and a very, very decrepit Dr. Octopus. I mean, really, the way he drew his mouth, it's like, what are they do, trying to copy Apocalypse or something? Yeah, so let's just see. We're going to hit a few more pages. Oh, yeah, here it is. Doc Ock's pretty much attacking from the Sinister Six. And then look in Spider-Man's eyes. If Spider-Man doesn't quit for any particular reason or he gives you those eyes, you know you done screwed up big time. And the way Hobgoblin was talking about, you'd think that Spider-Man pretty much wiped the floor with Ock and then used his innards to paint a message saying "Stay away from my family or else." That's pretty much how I would envision it. I mean, and Mysterio wearing the black cape and the thing. I mean, I know he's a stage magician, but come on. I mean, where's the green costume? I prefer Mysterio in the green instead of the black. Nothing against that, and then there's Kraven. I mean, Kraven actually started... The thing I like about Kraven is that he is actually like a hunter. Like, he knows... Look at this. Look at the panel. It says, traces of his sweat, filled with fear. He is desperate, fighting like a man possessed. Most unlike him. He is never afraid for himself. He showed himself at school. I know my prey. He's the father looking after his cub, protecting the pride. Trust me, we find the child, we find the man. You see, this is what everyone doesn't give Kraven enough credit for. He is intelligent. He's not Doc Ock level intelligent, but when it comes to tracking, this guy's like Wolverine. He is a tracker. He knows all the different types of animal physiologies, their pattern, their migration patterns, etc. He's like the crocodile hunter, but more malevolent and stuff. So yeah, that's what everyone likes. I think I gotta give Kraven this for. It's like they definitely nail his animal intelligence, or at least his zoologist patterns just so perfectly. Let's see, we're gonna flip ahead to more of... Oh yeah, this right here. Let's skip ahead a few pages, and this right here, Demolition Man. They literally dissected him just to get a hold of his superpowers. His enhanced strength is flowing into the because they steal all his powers and they put it into Regent's test suit, the suit that's right here. So he only looks like Darkseid with a technopathic virus, but he's underneath. He really is just a man, quite literally. So yeah, they dissected him. This guy, I know that he says for the quote-unquote greater good, but it turns out it's not really. He's just doing it just to fight Doom, and who knows? He's just probably going to tear the entire, battle world a new one. He'll probably just end up... Because the thing about villains is they claim it's for the greater good, but it turns out it's not. Because as Damian Wayne from Batman once said, for villains, it's never really about change, just about control. And that's apparently what this guy is. He may delude himself with visions of grandeur as doing it for the greater good, but deep down, he's just trying to steal their powers, just make himself feel special. And the poor guy, look what he's doing to Sandman. Literally, he's disintegrating him via the silicone sand and everything. In this version, Sandman's still a good guy, and he's just working as a mole for the Resistance, helping out and everything. Of course, obviously, Sandman is just that Regent's stronghold is obviously through the black hole created by Jonathan Owen. So it's a portal to their title to victory. And of course, you got Annie Parker. Oh, wait, hang on. Yep. Oh, yeah. Here is Annie Parker's makeshift costume. I know it looks a bit dinky, but again, it's the first costume. What do you expect? And look at this. You gotta admire. I know that she's definitely an underrated character in terms of Spider-Man's children, but you gotta give her credit where credit's due. She bit Boomerang's arm, pretty much dodged Rhino, and nut punched Craven from her perspective. I mean, from her stance. I mean, come on. And as they said, after what she did, they didn't show it, but the way that little kid was fighting dirty with spider strength. And Prowler says that Craven's not going to be able to walk for weeks. Walk funny for weeks. And of course, you got Hawkeye, the one with Fury's eye patch. Now, I mean, Hawkeye's been pretty much like an angsty jerk, like pretty much like an angsty prick. But, yeah, that's just one side of him. I think that there's more than one side to him, but this is definitely a guy who's like, he's like John Wick. I mean, in the Ultimate version, he took out a guy with just his fingernail. That's pretty hardcore, even by John Wick standards. With a bow and arrow, I mean, just think about it. You got John Wick with a bow and arrow and with no guns. With a bow and arrow and a samurai sword. It is just too much. Well, actually, it's not too much. It is just really, really good to think about. Anyway, that's just how I see him. And of course, in the Vision in Red, you've got all flashbacks of this world's Peter's life. His time with Aunt May and Uncle Ben, the first time meeting Mary Jane Watson, the fact that him burying Uncle Ben shortly after his death, them Peter and MJ getting married, sharing their first moving in and sharing their first kiss. The fact when this version of Aunt May actually dies, and how her death paved the way for Annie Parker's birth, their family, and it's like, always be there for you. A fitting title for this section of the story. And here's one of my favorite panels when MJ allows Annie to truly kick Dr. Stillwell, who's a woman's ass, and she's like, "Mommy's orders." Yeah, that panel is just so cute. And so basically, the MJ and Annie are basically just tearing the Regent's entire computer network a new one, just like smashing it up and everything else. And I think this was Regent's suit was actually the prototype for her later Spinneret costume that draws on Spider-Man's powers just as much as him. But then so that way it truly makes them equals. But she can't use too much of it; it'll drain Spider-Man. But Spider-Man can't use too much, otherwise it'll drain MJ. It's a pattern. It's a balancing act. It literally is a balancing act going forward. And of course, you got Regent crashing through the entire scene right over here. Here, ready to take them on. And MJ and Annie's finally had enough. She says she's not a thing. She's not some collectible like a Barbie or Pokemon. Get it? And then she knows what she is. So playing dirty and killing the bad guys, when a hero does that, they shouldn't just say, "I know who I am. You don't." And then, look at this. And when he's finally depowered, he grabs an 8-year-old by the throat in front of an entire crowd of people. I mean, come on. If he was really going to really going to be the good guy, the quote-unquote good guy over here, then he's definitely barking up the wrong tree. I mean, he's holding an innocent 8-year-old girl by the throat in front of an entire crowd of people watching Onford and probably recording it, too. So, in terms of brownie points, this guy has lost every single one of them. And then, Peter actually, and you know what Peter does? He just tells a lame dad joke. And and there's a method to him telling jokes. The guy tilts his head up laughing, exposes the jugular, and he literally punches him right through the neck. Or at the very least, probably just slits his throat, or whatever. And in the end, Annie is safely in her father's arms. And as a result, the Parker family just get together eating wheat cakes. So it's pretty much kind of typical with that. So in the end, Annie made some new friends with the Power Pack kids who were featured in this one. They actually got pizza with the Avengers, and they celebrated their first Christmas together. Ain't that a cute little thing? And that's basically just how the story ends. And of course, and then you got these variant covers. This one by my favorite artist, J. Scott Campbell. I really like how they put the detail work. This one by Scotty Young, which is basically just Spider-Man and MJ meeting his kids in an alternate universe. And of course, you got the Spider-Man action figure one with his secret shield. Two of them. You got the Spider-Man disc and this other one. This is not really an action figure that's not sold in stores. They just did this one because, well, for Secret Wars. And of course, you've got Peter and MJ just swinging through Manhattan, all on a web swing, just living their best life. And yeah, that's basically Spider-Man Renew Your Vows Warzone Edition. So, For all you comic lovers out there, I highly recommend that you come in, that you go and buy this comic at your local comic book store to support small businesses or wherever books are sold. Ain't that right, Reptar? That's right. Yeah, this book is a really good read, and for all those of you who are wondering, who are big fans of Peter and MJ's married life and with kids, this book right behind me will definitely not disappoint. Yeah. So basically, that's basically it on our front. Isn't it? Anything else you want to add, Pirate Master Deadpool Supreme? No, not really. I mean, the fact of the matter is, like, well, actually, we got this whole book done in less than a day, or at least a couple hours I was at the beach. I mean, this makes a pretty decent, if not great, beach read. I'll tell you that much. So yeah, for all you comic book lovers out there who are a big fan of the Spider-Man marriage, this book right here, the Renew Your Vows series, will not disappoint. Available now on Amazon and your local comic book stores. Okay, well, that seems to be all the time we have for today on this episode of Chillin' with the Pool. As usual, I'm Pirate Master Deadpool Supreme, and I'm a Reptar. Hear me roar. You've been awesome, and until next time, true believers,